Hello and welcome to Aimless in Second Life, a series in which I record myself in Second Life. Those are annoying. Why do they put those there? I'm just trying to fly through. Oh goodness, and now I can't fly. Excuse me a sec. If you don't want people on your land, just use one of those security orbs that just kicks people off. They're nowhere near as annoying as the invisible borders, or almost invisible borders. These things, hold on, it'll pop up momentarily. These things, they're annoying. Anyway, the reason I'm recording now, oh goodness, another one, really? The reason I'm recording now is because my voice cracked. But no, seriously, I am here at the Second Life Railroad. I was driving my train just a few minutes ago. Stop that! If you stay on the tracks, that doesn't happen. But I was driving my train a little bit ago, traveling along this track right here, in fact, where I came across the end of the track, which usually is, well, the end. First off, I gotta show this off over here, as soon as it lets me. The track over here is... well, I really hope I'm not getting desync. This would be a really bad time to get desync. I just realized I'm recording at 30 frames per second. I don't know if I can handle that. But this track is under construction. You can see the guys in progress right here. How far does this go? Does it still go the same distance it went before? I'd say... yeah, it's been sitting right here for a few weeks. But more importantly is right over here. Normally, the track just ends right up there somewhere. Oh goodness, there goes my frame rate. Oh, just making sure I'm in sync. But anyway, normally the track ends right around that point, but as I was traveling along here, I noticed that for some reason, the track was dividing itself, and it's a really long divide, so it's not like it's going to be a switch, so I think, well, maybe they're building a new track. Because they've been meaning to add some track off this direction for a long time, and sure enough, they have been. I don't know why they had to divert the track at the end there. I assume because the land here... where's about land? Do I have an about land button? Sometime I need to... there we go. Yep, that's right. They can't cross over this piece of land, so they had to divert it a little. Which probably takes a lot less effort in Second Life than it would in real life. And then over here, this crystal is another reason why they had to sit still for a while. There's a gap in the track right here. First off, there's no wood in the track, or is there? Is it buried under the ground? No, it's just the rails. But there's a piece of track here. Let's see what we got here. Future SLRR land. So they do own this land. No, wait, now it's protected land. Now it's M80. What is M80? Apparently this is M80. Okay, kind of a waste of plot there. Keep going, and oh, here's some more. Here's where some more track is complete. And if I continue off over here, there's a guy down there. We'll get back to that guy momentarily. Oh, gosh darn it. Is this going to be happening throughout the entire episode? Or whatever you want to call this? And then over here, the track ends. The idea is they're wanting to connect it right around here, and also... where's my map button? Next time I need to... before I record another episode, I need to make sure I have a map thing. The idea is that they would eventually have it divert off into Scottoterix, which, as far as I am aware, they have not done yet. I'm not going to check just yet. I'm really hoping this isn't going to cause desync. I'm not wasting this video. Let's double check I'm in sync some more. And sit here. Okay, that was a bit delayed. Try that again. About land. There we go. And if we go over here, we got this guy over here. Let's see what his name is. His name is Michael Linden. Oh, so it's one of the folks who runs Second Life. How about that? Specifically, Michael Linden runs the railroad. Oh, wait, who's that over there? Don't know who you are. Oh, hey, he's building land. Look at this. Watch, he's modifying how big the land is. That's kind of neat. Rippling effect. So this is pretty much why I wanted to record this. I could have recorded it later. In fact, I was thinking about recording it later. But then whenever I saw that Michael Linden was out here building the railroad, I had to record this, because this is not going to be something I'll have another chance to record. Hopefully, he won't mind if I record this. I'm not particularly interested going to ask. I wonder if the guides are in the place yet. Nope. Transparency objects are on right now. You can see in the background all things with alpha textures, they're highlighted. If the guides for the railroad was here, look at me talking about the guides for the railroad like you guys knew what I was talking about. You know, I really should show off the railroad. So maybe in the next video, I'll start traveling along the railroad. But for now, this is really cool and I just wanted to show this off. I wonder if we'll get to see him connect the track. That would be pretty cool. I mean, fix that over there. Pretty much. A little bit of lag. Let me double check if I'm in sync again. Duh. What does Michael Linden look like anyway? This probably isn't his regular form, but... So he seems to be an anteater, I want to say. Yep, an anteater with a tie and a whatever kind of hat that is. Let me check what kind of hat that is. I can check what kind of hat that is. It is a fedora. That's a fedora? I thought what Indiana Jones had was a fedora. If this is a fedora, what does Indiana Jones have? Ah, whatever. Let's see what he's doing here. Oh, he's adding more of the base. And that Mickey guy is gone now. Oh, up here. There's a map here that shows what they were planning to do. Hopefully. There's a bit more lag. But this shows the entire Second Life Railroad. I showed this map off really early on before, but here it is again. There's Tulip Tree, and it goes all the way around, and then splits off in a whole bunch of directions. We are here. And the track previously ended around here, and they're wanting to build it here, connect it here, and bring it to Soxiel Path, or whatever it was. I'm kind of curious about this one. They've had this dotted line here for a long time. What is the pink one again? Northern Branch Line. So I guess they want to bring the railroad over here, but they've had this dotted line sitting here for a long time. So I don't really know if they're going to be getting it. Anyway, oh, he's a mole. Moletivator. Haha. Let's see, how far is he now? And there's another piece down. Oh, he's going to have to, like, alter the angle of this because of how the railroad is curving. Let's see how much effort that takes there. I think this piece is actually longer than the piece that he's trying to build onto, so he's going to have to, like, shorten it or something. Kind of curious. Yeah, he's rotating it, and that's the whole piece, but he's got to deal with this angle right here. So let's see how he deals with that. Yeah, this railroad is owned by the Lindens. Mostly. There's a few parts of the railroad that are owned by... They call themselves the Virtual Railroad Consortium. They're kind of at odds with the main line. Or at least that's the impression I'm under in certain chat rooms, but it's kind of an a dumb rivalry. Certain members of each side are certain members of each side think that it's kind of dumb that there's this rivalry, and I'm among them. I'm actually in both groups, so it's kind of dumb. The Second Life Railroad is cool, and of course the Virtual Railroad Consortium, they've actually been pretty helpful because they own a whole bunch of stations along the line and are responsible for certain portions of track. And there he goes. It's going to be meeting along the side of the railroad there. Hey, what is that sign over there? It is an editing sign. Does that mean this place here is build enabled? I don't know. Let me go over there and find out. Let's see. So currently there's a box up there, and this thing right here says I can't build a res objects here. But if I sit here, sure enough, this spot right next to me is a spot where I can actually build. Probably because of the station up here. Lag, hiccup, whatever you want to call it. Didn't want to do that. Yeah, probably because of the station. You know, I've crossed this bridge many a time. It would be pretty cool, except there's a sim border right in the middle of it, so whenever you cross a sim border, the train has to pause to log into the next sim. I've already explained sims before, so I don't have to do that again. Let's look at this some more. This is pretty much all we're going to be doing in this video, is watching this Linden guy build the railroad. But, you know, that's actually kind of awesome. Because how often does... You know, the Lindens are really hard to meet. Unless you go to, like... There's, like, certain places where you might find Lindens, but otherwise they sort of... we'll say hide in the heavens on the Linden Mount Olympus, we'll say. You don't really see them too often unless there's, like, certain issues that they need to address or stuff like that. And to come across the guy who owns the railroad, that's pretty awesome. Another hiccup. Build. There's a bit of artifacting there, or whatever you call it, where you can see little white pixels in between two images or two textures. If I get close up, yeah, there's a little itty bitty gap there. It's probably not going to be fixed. I doubt that Michael Linden is as much as a perfectionist as I am. Of course, I could be slightly wrong. He seems to be trying to fix it a little, but how much will he fix it? Well, let's just wait and see. This part I don't mind so much, where the two pieces of rail intermingle with another. It kind of looks like they're actually coupled together, even though that's not really what's going on there. Also, I just realized I caught a Linden on video. Oh, this video better not get desynced. I mean, if it does, I'll fix it manually. I've done it before. It's an absolute pain, which is why I keep doing this, to make sure that I'm going to stay and have a reference point in case I do go out of sync. So you might be wondering, how long am I going to record this? If you are wondering that, just look at the length of this video. That's going to be a pretty good indication. Of course, I don't have to record the entire thing. I mean, eventually it's going to become pretty obvious what's going to happen. He's going to drag another piece and center it, drag another piece, and keep doing that all the way there. I'm curious what he's... Oh, there he goes, dragging another piece. I'm curious what's going to happen whenever he gets to this section of land, because that's a piece of land that they're not really allowed to cross over just yet. Which is kind of funny, considering they're the bigwigs. You'd think they'd be allowed to just tell somebody, hey, we want this piece of land. Can we have it for the railroad? Thanks, bye. But I imagine they're somewhat respectful towards other people's land. Which is why it's taken so long to have this going off in this direction. Actually, I'm slightly surprised that he's even building here right now, considering they don't actually have all the land to link the rails. Well, there is a way to do this, though, because trains in Second Life, I mentioned that there was a guide. I'll show that off eventually, but basically, they locate the guide in front of them. They don't necessarily ride on the rails. In fact, Second Life physics are not good enough to ride directly on the rails. So they follow an invisible guide in the middle of the track and detect it, and eventually I guess what could happen is if they get to this point, they'll see a guide across the gap and they'd be able to go to that. There's actually a spot of the railroad, a different railroad, the GSRR, I think? No, it's the WARR, the Western Atoll Railroad, branches off. He's moving! Let's watch him move! That's so cute! It's also a really old avatar. Avatars like that are outdated, but people still use them because there aren't actually any other avs like them. Or at least none that are new. I mean, there are micro avs, but there aren't any new avs like this. And in case you're wondering why he's sort of sunk into the ground, it's probably because this piece of thing is phantom. Oh, he's modifying the land here. Nope, watch that part behind you. It's a good thing you can't uproot the rails like that. He walked in front of me. Yay! He's standing in front of me. Yay! There's an owl over there. Yay! Where's the owl? Let me see if I can find it. Oh, there was another hiccup. Guess what I'm gonna have to do? Oh, yeah, well, that works too. About this thing. Distance 6 kilometers. There are these crystals all over Second Life, or at least the mainland. I'm assuming they point to other crystals, but I'm not entirely sure what the point of them. I imagine it's gonna be kind of hard to follow the link to them because eventually you're bound to veer off a little bit. Kind of curious what those are about. Alright, I'm going to start a fresh recording here because I'm afraid if this goes on too much. Actually, it would be a good chance to double check if I'm in sync. Interestingly enough, yeah, it does stay in sync. That's impressive. I didn't think that I'd be able to record this at 30 frames per second, because SL is kind of a resource hog. I mean, looking over here, I've got this core temp thing. Let me drag it over and I'll show you. This is what I'm dealing with right now. My clock is completely maxed out and using up not too much RAM. Here's my processor usage. It was at 70% a moment ago. If I click here, it's going to go back up though. Because whenever I'm not on Second Life sort of goes to a minimalist mode where you can still kind of see what's going on, but like the frame rate is going to cut in half. In fact, let me show you. Ah, goodness. Well, I just lost my thing because well, I'm going to show you anyway. If I go to Performance Tools and Statistics Bar, here's my frame rate. I'm going to click outside of it. And then there goes my frame rate cutting itself in half. Until I click this again, then it goes back up. Well, Mr. Linden doesn't seem to be doing anything at this moment. So we'll just skip ahead until, I don't know, something interesting happens. More terraforming, it looks like. He's obviously had some practice doing this. I've actually done a bit of it myself. I own a piece of land in the mountains. I'd show you where in the mountains, but this video is going on YouTube and I don't want a bunch of people flooding my house. But I did a little bit of terrain management at my place. Needed to fix the fact that the front of my house is nearby a sim border, and so whenever you cross the sim border in just the right angle, you get stuck under the porch, so I had to raise the ground so that doesn't happen. Modifying land is actually pretty easy. I imagine there's a bit of trickery if you want absolute perfection, but well, let's see here. Where's my build button? Do I have a build button? No, why would I? And there goes a random car on the road. Where's his exhaust? Oh, never mind. It's no, wait, no, there it goes again. Where is the exhaust on this thing that it's coming out of the trunk? Maybe they have a leak. Alright, I got my build button. Let's see if I go to this. This is land builder thing. I wouldn't be able to do anything here. There's no way they would allow me. It's probably pretty much disabled. I mean, just because you can build doesn't mean you can modify land. Basically, building just means you can build stuff, which I still need to show you guys how it works. What is this place sitting over here anyway? CWT. College of... No, wait, that's CWI. I figured that part going across was like a T. College of Western Idaho? Department of Information Technology. Kind of curious. This place is empty. Is there anything actually in there? Well, there's some chairs and... Oh, it looks like they might have stuff going on here, but anybody's guess whether this place actually gets any activity. Sloodle? What the heck is Sloodle? Click play on your media controls. Oh wow, is this outdated. This right here is an image from version 1 of Second Life, and as a reminder, we're on version 3. So this place is old. And the Linden guy disappeared. When did he disappear? Is he really gone? Unless he's out towards my left there at the sim border. Is that him? Okay, now he's definitely not there. Is this going to show nobody there now? Well, this continues to show that somebody's right at the edge of the border, but the minimap reveals to me that I am completely alone. So I guess maybe he's done for the time being. Either that or he moved on somewhere else. Well, let's see. Is he over there? No. I can't really see any further off in that direction. Maybe he went back to the other end of the track. Let me hunt for him. Oh wait, somebody's coming along the railroad. Or the road, just general road. Who is this coming across? Went across. Why is this person invisible? Who are you? Well, as long as I've lost track of the Linden guy, I figure I might as well come to Scotopteryx. My, what an odd name. Show you where the railroad might eventually end. We got this dock here in the corner, and if I'm thinking correctly, I think that map that I looked at earlier showed that the railroad ending somewhere around here. And lag. Now there's this little pass sitting right here, and it's like, is this where they're going to build the railroad? And I click that, and it's object. So that doesn't really help me. It does say that I am currently on Route 5, which would imply this road down here. So maybe this path is part of the road. I'm not entirely sure, though. If I had to guess, though, the railroad would be ending somewhere around this point, if it ever actually does come out here. Wow, those birds are loud. Is that a spaceship? Huh. Oh, there's a person getting caught in the ray there. And there's a bit of lag. Sucks to be this person. No? I don't know. They're standing on a platform, so they're not actually being sucked in. They're more like being pushed down onto a floating platform or something. This is blinking red. I don't know why. Usually when the mini-map turns red, it means a disconnect. By the way, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm going to crash. Well, that Linden fellow doesn't seem to be anywhere that I can find him. By the way, for those curious, whenever I drove the train up here, it followed the old path. In fact, I can show you what the guide is that I was talking about real quick before I end this video. The guide is, if I go to transparency, this thing in the middle. It is quite literally a guide. Trains follow it, and as you can see, the guide follows the old track. Hasn't quite been moved to the new track just yet. Which makes sense considering the new track hasn't actually been finished yet. So for the time being, this track is going to end. Let me turn off transparency. The old track is going to end here. Anyway, I'm going to sit around for a little bit. If Michael Linden shows up again, I'd be sure to let you know. But otherwise, I think we're not actually going to be able to watch him any further. He's probably gone for a while.